Hello everyone. Welcome to Yashoda Hospital's online segment, The Health Talk Session. Celebrating women, whether professionally or personally, is a sense of commitment to each and every woman in one's life. With Women's Day around the corner, that is on 8th of March, we have a very special guest on today's show. I'm Dr. Lakshmi, and let's welcome Dr. Swarnalatha, nephrologist and in charge of Jeevandan. Welcome, doctor. So, ma'am, tell us more about yourself and your journey in this medical field.
So I'm Dr. Swarnalatha. I'm a nephrologist at Nizam's Medical Sciences and I'm in charge Jeevandan. It's a disease or transplantation program, government of Telangana. So how I became a doctor? So doctor was not a first choice for me. In fact, and nephrology was also not a first choice for me. Two people have influenced my life in becoming a doctor and a nephrologist. So after 12th. So it was my parents who told me, you have to become a doctor because your personality and the way you approach, it's good you become a doctor. So that's how I've chosen a doctor as a profession. I wrote my entrance. In fact, I wrote both medicine as well as engineering. So I finished my MBBS. Then came this PG, post graduation. Post graduation, again there was some diversion that you should become. There's a stereotypic then attached to female doctors that they should become a gynecologist. But again then that's where I listened to my heart, and then I took general medicine. And general medicine was not such a branch where it was opted by female doctors. So after general medicine, I was looking for a super specialty, and again the neurology was my first choice, and then cardiology, nephrology was never my first choice. Then during that period, I got married, and my husband who pushed me into the nephrology because he was into urology. So that's why nephrology has come into my life. That's how I became a doctor initially, and then I went on to become a nephrologist.
So, ma'am, being a clinician and in leadership position in Jeevandan, what were the initial challenges you faced?
So Jeevandan, I think that was a real challenge for me. That was the most difficult challenge for me in my lifetime. So 10 years back, when one of my director gave me the geo and said you have to take up this project, so I was little apprehensive how to go about it, and people around me have discouraged, saying that this is like a difficult challenge, it may not succeed, and it's not going to work in a government setup, and you being a female, you can't take up this challenge, and you can't take up because it's so much of demanding in terms of time kanivandi, professional time kanivandi, personal time kanivandi, or energies kanivandi. So there's a lot of discouragement. So I did really feel little taken aback, but I said to myself that no, you can do it. So I sorted the issues, how to go about it. I took any challenge. I have tried to solve the issues, like talking to the government and settling down the protocols, talking to the professional groups, different professional groups, like the heart, the kidney, the liver, and trying to sit with them and understand the process and put the guidelines on paper, and then trying to coordinate with the IT people, because once I took the thing, I realized is the transparency is the most important thing. So that was again a challenge, and coordinating with so many people, and they have looked at me as it's a woman ain cheyagalutudi, because organ transplant is a very hot thing and there's a lot of demand, and being a woman can she withstand these challenges anedi there was a question mark. But slowly I tried to solve one after the other, and during that time what I realized is the personal, because I had to dedicate my time, whole of my time in sorting out these issues. And Jeevandan etlante organ donation eppudanna vastudi, middle of the night vastudi, and we need to be awake in the middle of the night on phone calls, settling all the issues. So that's where it penetrated my personal zone also, and it has affected my family. So I think this has actually affected my family. And daughter taking her decision, like whether to take up medicine. She is into engineering now. There's a time where she chose not to become a doctor probably. So that way it has affected my personal life. But at the end, I'm happy because you can see now how Jeevandan is going on. It's one of the #1 program and successful model in the entire country for disease donor transplantation program with the maximum rate.
So, ma'am, the campaign theme for International Women's Day for this year is Break the Bias. So what are your thoughts on this?
Though I'm fortunate that being a woman, I had never faced a major challenge what now the world is going through. we can see it's only 10% of the situation where the females have that gender equality. Females are given equal opportunity and female have their own choices of life, but unfortunately 90% are not exposed to all these things. They have the stereotype behavior, and they are not allowed to go for the primary education. They are not allowed to go for a professional education. They are not allowed to choose their own professional choices. And there is long way to go for gender equality, and that should be actually, we should come out and speak and then voice for gender equality. Unless we do that, we cannot have a what you call balanced life. So we should talk about the gender equality and the bias, and then raise our. There's actually an appropriate theme for this year.
That's rightly said, ma'am, about gender equality and equity. So, who was your inspiration and support system in your journey?
I mean, inspiration to name one would be difficult, because as you know, when you grow up slowly, you have different persons as inspiration. When you're a child, you choose your mother to be inspiration. When you start going to school, we choose our teachers as our inspirations. Every person I have met in my the journey of life, so I have taken inspiration from everybody. But in our profession, I would like to mention few names. Dr. Vidya Acharya, she is called the mother of the nephrology. We could imagine how difficult it would have been to her to get this nephrology education in a men dominant world, to reach out to that and then to excel herself, practice, and then to train the next generation. So like even now we see difficulty in going out of our comfort zone and learning something. Dr. Neela Prasad, she is also a woman nephrologist under whom I have trained myself. So I still remember that she used to share that she went to Delhi to train herself as a nephrologist. So I can just imagine. So these two names in our profession I would like to remember, and then I was inspired by whatever their the efforts they have put in, and in fact we are following that now. We have come up with a new concept called women nephrologists, because what we are going through, we can see, though we have a good number of women nephrologists across India, we only see few nephrologists in the top the particular leadership positions. So we have realized that I have learned from the senior nephrologists and trying to give platform to the young women nephrologists. I have come up with a new concept called women in nephrology as well.
I think that's really nice to see women in leadership role as compared to the past. So what message you would like to give to women out there as far as their overall well-being is concerned? What is your fitness secret?
As a woman, I recommend that every woman should take care of their own mental and physical health, and to overcome all these the hormonal changes which is happening normally in their lifespan. So for this physical activity and then mental meditation or the yoga is very important aspects of the life. That's what I follow. So I'm a marathon runner. I do couple of half marathons I have done, and I run about 5 to 10 kilometers daily. And I do yoga also. I can do 108 Surya Namaskaras. And at some point of my time I have learned even the Kuchipudi dance also. It's like I think it's one of the best fitness regime, because it keeps your mind and your body very healthy, and at the same time it will take your culture also forward to next generations.
That's really great to know, ma'am, that you're a great classical dancer, running marathons and into physical fitness. I'm sure you're inspiration to many women as well as men out there. So what was the most important advice you were given during your early career days?
No, first of all, what I would suggest my women friends is that the media or the people will always try to find fault with you. It is you have to motivate yourself. You have to come out of yourself. You have to be focused. So people will try to pull you down, but don't get affected by that. Remain focused and motivated. So you have to make yourself equal to a male. Unless you feel that you are important to yourself, people will not recognize you. So you have to come out of your own boundaries to make yourself equivalent to that of a male, and talk about the gender bias and gender equality.
That's rightly said, ma'am. I think the world is changing and we are seeing more women in leadership roles in today's time. So on the occasion of Women's Day, what is the most important message you would like to give to the young women thinking about their careers?
So woman anangane weaker section ani oka stereotype vachestundi. So kabatti you should be proud of being a woman. So woman anedi, you give birth to a child, so it's equivalent to a god, because life, God has only capacity to give life. So after that, every individual can give birth to a life, so that through organ donation. So I am proud of being a woman. I am proud of being the leader of this Jeevandan program, that actually supports the whole concept of giving birth and a womanhood. So when it comes to young women doctors, so I think it should be other way around, because if you look at the number of women students in MBBS, when we were students it was like 10 to 20 women and 80 to 90 men. But now it is reverse. It is 60 to 70 women doctors, and then 20 to 30 are men doctors. So there is no problem with the entry into MBBS. Girls are more considered to be suitable for doctor's job. But once they finish MBBS, that's where the challenge starts. In the country, that's the most vulnerable period, because they need to get married, they need to settle in their personal life, they get a child, and that's where they the female take a back seat, and men, though they are less in numbers, they move forward and they make their mark in what do you call it, whether it's a private practice, or whether it's leadership positions, or whether it's policy makers. So I think this is the most vulnerable area, period, and this is where the women need to be very strong. So they have to pursue, or they have to follow what their what they want to become in the career, and have a support system. So like we have started women nephrology, we have a support system for the women, so that we can support each other in that vulnerable period and move forward. So we need to be together to break the bias.
Thank you, ma'am. It was wonderful talking to you.
Thank you.
So this brings us to the end of this special episode on the occasion of Women's Day. Hope you all enjoyed watching us, and do join us for the next week as well. Thank you and stay safe.